Hello people, today we are going to learn about project phases, phase-to-phase relationship, and types of phase life cycle. Project phases. A project may be divided into a number of phases. A project phase is a collection of logically related project activities that culminates in the completion of one or more deliverables. Project phases are used when nature of the work to be performed is unique to a portion of the project and are typically linked to the development of a specific major deliverable. A phase may emphasize processes from a particular project management process group, but it is likely that most or all processes will be executed in some form in each phase. Project phase typically are completed sequentially, but can overlap in some project situations. Different phases typically have a different duration effort. The high-level nature of the project phases makes them an element of project lifecycle. Number of project phases. So how to decide how many number of project phases should be there. So basically it depends on the project and the type of project and also the organization which is organization standards. So let's see. Some organizations have established policies that standardize all projects, while others allow the project team to choose and tailor the most appropriate approach for their individual project. For instance, an organization may treat a feasibility study as routine pre-project work, another may treat it as the first phase of the project, and the third may treat the feasibility study as a separate standalone project. Likewise, one project team may divide a project into two phases, whereas another project team may choose to manage all the work as a single phase. Much depends on the nature of specific project and the style of project team and organization. Phase-to-phase relationship. There are basically two types of phase-to-phase relationship, sequential relationship and overlapping. In case of sequential, phase starts only when the previous phase is complete. The step-by-step nature of this approach reduces uncertainty but may eliminate options for reducing the overall schedule. This is example of three-phase project. One approach to cleaning up hazardous waste site. So in this case, first phase is facility decommissioning. Then second phase is waste removal or cleanup, and third phase is landscaping. Notice that in each of the phases, we are using all the five process groups. Project management process group, which is initiating, planning, monitoring and controlling, executing, and closing. Overlapping relationship. In an overlapping relationship, a phase starts prior to completion of the previous one. This can sometimes be applied as an example of schedule compression technique called fast tracking. Overlapping phases may require additional resources to allow work to be done in the parallel. But this kind of overlapping relationship may increase risk and can result in rework if subsequent phase progresses before accurate information is available from the previous one. So this kind of relationship is more risky, overlapping relationship. So this is an example, potential approach to building a new factory. Design phase and construction phase. While design is not complete, the construction can start. But this might require some rework because construction can assume something and design might change. So this is kind of risky relationship. Types of phase life cycle. So there are mainly three kinds of phase life cycle: predictive or plan driven, iterative or incremental, and adaptive or change driven. So let's see one by one. Predictive or plan driven. Predictive life cycle, also known as fully plan driven, are ones in which the project scope and the time and cost required to deliver that scope are determined as early in the project lifecycle as practically possible. In this case, scope and time is defined early, preferred when the product to be delivered is well understood. There is a substantial base of industry practice where a product is required to be delivered in full to have value to stakeholders. In case of iterative and incremental life cycle, these are the ones in which project phases, also called iterations, intentionally repeat one or more project activities as project teams' understanding of the product increases. This applies when changes to the scope of iteration are carefully managed once work begins. Preferred when organization needs to manage changing objectives and scope to reduce the complexity of a project, or when the partial delivery of a product is beneficial and provides value for one or more stakeholder groups without impact to the final deliverable or set of deliverables. Large and complex projects are frequently executed in iterative fashion to reduce risk by allowing the team to incorporate feedback and lesson learned between iterations. So before choosing the life cycle, we can think about these things. Adaptive life cycle. Adaptive life cycle, also known as change driven or agile method, are intended to respond to high level of change and ongoing stakeholder involvement. This is very important. Adaptive methods are also iterative and incremental, but differ in that iteration are very rapid, usually within a duration of 2 to 4 weeks, and are fixed in time and cost. Adaptive methods are generally preferred when dealing with rapidly changing environment, when requirement and scope are difficult to define in advance, when it is possible to define a small incremental improvement that will deliver value to stakeholders. So, in short, predictive or plan driven has involves scope, time, etc. are defined early when product is well understood, good industry based knowledge, product to be delivered in full. In case of iterative and incremental, you have changing objective and scope. It has repeated cycles, and it is incremental, which is adding functionality. In case of adaptive life or change driven, scope is difficult to um, define in advance, and high level of change is needed, which is agile method, and rapid iterations, which is between 2 to 4 weeks, is needed. So you can remember the things required to adopt one of the life cycle for a particular project. So guys, I think the video gave you some insights about phase life cycles. So subscribe to my channel for more video on PMP tutorial. Thanks for watching.